are real.
Hi! So, this isn't like a funny moment or anything. I just kind of wanted to do like a quick video about some feedback changes from Modern Warfare Zombies. This isn't a should you buy it sort of thing or a like a bugs kind of showcase, because I know that Treyarch and the whole dev studio as a whole is aware of a lot of these issues. So I'm not going to go over every single bug that's in the game at the minute, because everyone else already has, they're aware of the issues, and I know they're going to get fixed. This video is just going to be a bunch of little quality of life improvements that I wish the game had, that either because DMZ had them, or because, dear God, they desperately need them. The first issue I noticed, especially when going into Tier 3 zone, is there's no real counter to armored zombies, despite the fact we have armor-piercing rounds. Like, I get why, to an extent, that we don't have it, because we have Shatter Blast in the game, right? Shatter Blast destroys the absolute, like, all the armor of every zombie in the vicinity. But Shatter Blast is not guaranteed anymore. You have to find it, which can be a bit of a hassle if you're specifically hunting for it. Like, let us perfect our loadout so we can kind of deal with any encounters. So having armor-piercing rounds to deal with armored zombies, I think would be a nice change. Speaking of zombies in higher tier zones, no extra points for killing them. This is kind of baffling to me, because obviously in low tier zones you don't want to just, like, if it had like standard points like 90 and 115, you don't want to just farm low tier zones and then sweep the higher tier zones. But not having zombies give more points in higher tier zones, you kind of just killing bullet sponges without much payback besides ammo and armor, which you're just going to run out of. The minimap is or the tac map rather, is something that I think needs a slight bit of tweaking. I don't hate it per se. It can kind of be hard to read, as the only thing that are color coded are exfils, which, you know, is good. I'm not saying everything needs to be the same color, but I think there should be a different color between contracts, infested strongholds / ether nests, and like perks and such. Because as of now, it can be really hard to read at a quick glance. And I think just color coding some of the more important things, or color coding the different like objectives in the world, will make like navigating the map a lot easier for players. Speaking of navigating the map and how long it takes, the time limits. So I was always kind of skeptical about this ever since they announced it. And I still feel like it's too short to kind of really get your gear going. I'm not saying we need like unlimited time, because I know that's not feasible. And it also would like kind of miss the point of having DMZ zombies. But maybe just an extra 15 minutes before the zone moves, and then have the 15 minutes. Armor plates. So I don't hate the idea of armor. And even in Cold War and Vanguard, you know, while I have gripes with those games' armor systems, I don't hate them, and same here. However, because armor is now like a resource that you can just find in the world, only being able to hold 5 of them is kind of weird. Especially since you need to give up precious backpack space in order to hold more. So maybe just let us hold 6 or 7 in the standard slot, and then use up more backpack space, because in tier 3 zones, that armor is getting ripped off you. And with the time restrictions, you're probably not going to have guns that are going to effectively kill a lot of armored zombies to replenish that armor back. I know you can buy them at buy stations, but those are pretty few and far between, and not always convenient to get to replenish your armor. So this is one that I put when I first played the game, and since then I know there's been some weird issues with exfils when like the helicopters aren't turning up, or turning up way too fast and stuff like that. I'm more on about the fact that they don't seem to be as accessible as I was hoping. I feel like there's far too little of them in the map at any given moment to really take advantage of. Maybe just give us more exfil sites in tier 2 zones. So if you're in a tier 3 zone and the storm's closing in, you're not running all the way across the map to try and get to an exfil site. I feel like just having some tier 2 exfil sites would just help this issue a little bit. Junk and random items you can find in the overworld. This is a weird one. I get the idea behind it, because in DMZ you had this sort of thing where you could just find stuff in the overworld and then you can sell it at a buy station and it would give you money, right? The problem is the money the game asks of you for certain upgrades like Pack-a-Punch or perks or stuff like that, like kill streaks especially, it's far too high of an ask for the amount of money you get for just selling random crap you find in chests. I have a slight solution to this. I'm not saying get rid of it completely. However, I am just saying just turn it into essence. Like, straight up. Have like an item, not even an item, just like something in your inventory that as soon as you pick stuff up, like a picture of a dog or stuff like... I'm not saying everything, because obviously I know that given the way DMZ is, some of these items are going to be helpful for side objectives in the future, like jumper cables and such were for the Koshi complex in DMZ. But what I am saying is like random crap that you don't need, like screwdrivers and pictures and comic books. Just turn it into straight up essence and make it points so players aren't lugging around shitloads of nothing to buy stations and filling up their precious backpack space. No 4-person squads is a weird one. I don't understand this. So I get it in DMZ, right? Because I feel like in Modern Warfare 2, you could pretty effectively take down a 3-man squad if you got the jump on them. But you couldn't do that with a 4-man squad, right? Which is why you could, make your team up to a team of 6. But why not have a 4-person squad standard in this game? Because I feel like it wouldn't really change much considering you still can have a 6-man squad in Modern Warfare Zombies. An in-game scoreboard, or rather the lack of one. Please? Like, there's not really much else I need to really explain here. I don't think I need to explain why keeping track of kills and such is very helpful. You don't seem to keep certain items upon exfilling. Now, I understand why you don't keep all of these, but keycards? Really? There are one-time use items, so it's not like DMZ where stronghold keycards can be used multiple times on multiple strongholds. Especially Legacy's Fortress, considering the amount of effort you have to go through just for a kind of nothing. Weapon rarity, pack-a-punch, and points are also things that you don't keep from game to game. Now I know that points you can technically keep if you bleed out with Tombstone and then come back and get them, but you shouldn't really have to basically have a throw match just so you can actually be set up for the next match. Maybe just keeping one of the three, like weapon rarity or pack-a-punch and guns, or just straight up your points, I think would make it a lot more bearable. Especially in the early game. Exfil cooldowns do not apply to any kind of schematic. So, to sum it up, whenever you exfil, you'll get a timer in the top right that'll display how long your cooldown, like how much you've shaved off the cooldown. This only applies to the insured weapon slots. While that's great, I feel like that could also apply to the schematics, considering these can take 3 hours up to 24 hours depending on which one you use. I feel like the cooldown should apply to them, so you're not basically waiting one whole day in real time to have that one match where you get a lot of shit done. Tombstones, at the minute, only carry a few items, including your points, as previously mentioned. I feel like they should carry, at the very least, your gun that you were holding out when you downed and bled out, as you don't really get it back, and there's not a whole lot of point to go back for your tombstone unless you just want the points you had. Stash sizes. This is a doozy. So as it stands right now, you have 10 slots as your stash size, and then an additional reward stash for completing contracts. 10 slots is not enough, considering that has to juggle Aether Tools, Ethereum Crystals, and perks. I suggest one of two changes to this. Number one is straight up just a bigger stash size, make it 25 or 30, just so you can have everything in there. Number two is maybe split them up. So have Ethereum Crystals, Aether Tools, and perks all in 3 different stash sizes of varying amounts depending on how strong that item is. So perks maybe have it as 10, Crystals you could have 5, and Aether Tools you could have 5, 10 or whatever. This one's not like one that has like a whole lot of detail to it. Sentry guns are just awful. If you've done that fucking contract with the sentry guns where you have to kill mercs and zombies, you know the pain, because your sentry gun just won't target them for the longest time. Please buff sentry guns. I do not hate the idea of having human AI in zombies. It doesn't bother me all that much, especially with the way it's implemented. I think it's really well done. However, it is not perfect. And I believe that human AI in lower tier zones should not be able to insta-melt you with a 3 plate. You have a lot of health and it can be instantly just drained from you. So maybe in lower tier zones have the human AI not be as accurate, or use worse weapons, or just simply not do as much damage. And then obviously the higher tier zones you get into, the more deadly they get. Okay, I think that's just about everything I have to say. Thank you very much for listening to my absolute dogshit rambles, and I'll catch you on the flip. Bye now.